Thank you, Pradhan, for telling us all that ignorance is not bliss. Now I need to go home and reevaluate my life. Pradhan was focusing on vocal variety today. He asked me specifically to concentrate on his use of voice and also his body language and facial expressions and whether or not they were effective in conveying emotion. And so first I want to talk about what Pradhan did really well, especially with his voice, because some of the things that he did really well with his voice were unnoticeable. And that's how you can tell they were really effective. The first thing is that he just came up here and he spoke loudly and clearly, enough for everybody to hear him. He wasn't fading off into the distance, he wasn't stuttering, he wasn't speaking excitedly or nervously, or he was talking fast over himself. No, he kept a calm, rational pace. And he did that with his body language as well, specifically his face. He wasn't smiling a lot nervously, he wasn't like twitching or anything, he was just up here having a conversation. His use of pauses was very effective. He had a very slow kind of conversational pace to his whole speech, and it was really easy to just listen to him. What I think Pradhan could have done a little bit better, or could do better in the future, is inject more variety into the speech in terms of energy, pitch in his voice, and humor. Those things it was kind of monotone the whole way. He was just speaking like it was a conversation. If any of you were here a couple weeks ago when we did the humorous speaking contest, Pradhan jumped up onto a chair and threatened to, "I'm going to kill you guys all with this hair clip tie thing." And he was screaming and it was hilarious. I think if this speech had a little bit more humor in it, then there would have been more opportunities for that. And that kind of goes back to why these things happen. Often it's not because you're not capitalizing on opportunities, it's because you don't create the opportunities during the speech writing process. So when you're writing the speech, if you're thinking about vocal variety, it's something that you should do is consider where you can inject humor and energy into your speech so that you don't, freak out and start yelling during a random sentence just to try to add some vocal variety into the speech. Another thing that I noticed you do a little bit, Pradhan, with your eyes is that when you're not sure what to say, you kind of stare up into space and look for the words. And this is a natural thing. I think we all do it. It's one of the ways that people as human beings kind of retreat into their shells, like you were talking about. But instead, the high-level thing to do is if you're looking for a word, you just hold eye contact. And it's almost like a bluff. It's like you're making a dramatic pause, even though you have no idea what you're going to say. The audience might suspect that you do know what you're going to say. This is very easy to say and difficult to do, so keep it in mind the next time you give a speech so you can practice it. It's very similar to bluffing in poker. Just stare at Hector until he flinches, because if I stare at him long enough, he'll be more nervous than me. All right, thank you.